Serving as the principal advisor to the government, the Attorney General Chambers is paramount in maintaining the rule of law. Attorney General Julien responded to tough questions posed by the general public in a virtual briefing at the COVID-19 Command Center on Thursday. The extreme measures taken thus far by the government are still being queried by some members of the public. He sought to explain the legal framework that undergirds the recent declaration of a state of emergency, which received parliamentary approval earlier this week.
I will again revert to what the Director General, Dr. Tedros, said. And we have called every day for countries to take urgent and aggressive action. So do we decide to be Italy and what's happening there, this scourge called coronavirus 19, or do we take example from our friends from Taiwan? Do we wait until it is literally knocking at our door, or do we wait before it arrives at our shore to the extent that I saw only this morning in New York, where the healthcare workers are repurposing, and I'm using this fancy word, garbage bags into protective gear.
Julien says officials are fully aware of the island's limited resources, and this was factored in before the activation of the emergency state.
We took the step of consulting directly with the leader of the opposition. I think I'm allowed to say that because it was stated in Parliament, and we went through the process. He had certain concerns, and there were areas which were clarified, and we made some amendments. So it was an open discourse. And further to that, even the briefing notes that was used by the Honorable Prime Minister was shared. So there were no surprises.
The government's principal legal officer provided a timeline of the state of emergency.
The state of emergency will lapse, that's the language that is used, on the 26th of April, if nothing is done to continue it. Because you have the ability to extend it for 12 months. But you have to return to Parliament and get permission so to do. With regard to the need for it as well, I must highlight that for the purpose of enforcement, it is less for the law-abiding and more about those who at some point determine that they will operate above the law and serve the self-interest.
The Emergency Powers Act grants the Prime Minister the power to cut bureaucratic red tape to respond to a disaster or emergency. This includes the recent local accreditation for the incoming Cuban medical professionals, requisitioning of hotels as quarantine centers, and the imposition of a curfew to maintain law and order. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.